Illusion and Intrigue. I still have to look because I still get it backwards in my head every time when I first think about it. And me anyway, a little tired today, but we're going to make this be a thing. As you can probably see, Elizabeth, aka Gretchen, is not able to make it today. And Amanda is never going to make it, I think. Someday she'll be here, but today is not that day. Other Amanda, yes. The one you've never met before if you've been following this stream/podcast.
The other half of my square root.
Yes, that one. But before we do anything else, let's go through and introduce ourselves to anybody who might be new to us, starting with Stuart.
I'm Stuart, and I play Ra.
Okay. And Amanda.
I'm Amanda. I play Kellyanne, the druid, otherwise known as Cal.
Chris.
I'm Chris, and I play Bard the Bard.
Still funny.
Every time.
Every time. I'm Josh. Hey, Duncan. Andrew.
And Josh is very, very in and out today, apparently. We don't hear you very well.
You're really soft there.
To modify.
Kind of broken up.
We're recording, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, we're streaming. Apparently, I can't record and stream at the same time for reasons I don't understand.
That works. So
you can download the stream. It just seems like an extra step that is really unnecessary, but whatever, computer, okay. And I am Kara, your DM for the day. And every day. All the days. It's me. So last week on Illusion and Intrigue, we had a very emotional, very roleplay heavy, very one-person roleplay heavy, unfortunately for everybody else who was sitting there just being bored the whole time probably, episode where Gretchen went home and met up with her little brother, who is quite distraught because he had just found out that he is not of the bloodline that he thought he was, and is in fact a bastard, and was quite upset about that. So they had a long conversation with him, and then went back to Gretchen's home again, where she talked to her mother, who was also very upset. It turns out that her father, upon learning the news, has left them, and nobody knows where he is. Yeah. Thanks to Gretchen's disappearance and her fiance, who had been blackmailing her family into this marriage with this information. But when Gretchen disappeared and was not where she said she was, he let it all out. So the world knows that Gretchen's mother had an affair, and Simon is not her full-blooded brother. And after that conversation, I think you guys were just debating what to do. Like, I don't think you would come up with any ideas of what you were going to do next, unless somebody remembers something that I don't.
Well, we discussed.
Was I there?
Not for the conversation, no.
Am I there now?
I think they're back at the inn. No, they went and got...
We cremated Andriel.
Yeah, you went and cremated Andriel.
Good. He fits in a box better that way.
Yeah.
That's Amanda, not Cal.
It's a little less smelly. And I think you guys had sort of planned on going to take his body to his family, but I don't know if that was your next move. But maybe after that, I think you probably would have gone back to the inn where Cal was. So we can probably pick up there, because I don't actually remember the very end of last week. So probably it was something. I was also emotionally distraught after having to go through all of that. It wasn't just Elizabeth. I didn't expect her to hit everybody the same day and get all the stories at the same time.
Definitely a good thing I did not try to play while driving.
Probably. Yeah.
you can't tell, I've relocated to my winter digs, aka my parents' basement.
So now you're a basement dweller playing D&D. It's good to be a stereotype.
Is it? I mean, it's a pretty
Or
nice basement, so I'm not complaining.
Playing D&D in your parents' basement. I mean, I guess that's really more the stereotype. Yeah, it is a very like bright and shiny basement. You've got sunlight. I mean, it doesn't look like a basement to me.
This is actually the upstairs basement, but the downstairs basement is very nice too.
You have
It's
a
a walkout
two-story
basement,
basement?
No, this is just the regular upstairs of the house.
Oh, okay. What are you even talking about?
Yeah, it's an underground cavern. We're gonna go real life dungeon crawl, y'all.
3 is where you reside. 2 is where you're currently broadcasting.
Now I'll start from the basement. I just have to finish putting the floor in first.
My brother's reflooring his bathroom at the moment. My parents are very upset because they can't go join him in this. But they, my brother's family, went Black Friday shopping. So no, my parents are not joining them to help with their reflooring project.
Have I mentioned that I hate people?
If they try, they will get yelled at a lot by me.
Not by your idiot brother and his family.
I don't understand. Usually they're pretty careful. I think they just like lost their brains.
Everything I saw for Black Friday is also available online.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's been my Black Friday tradition for years.
Just go online.
Sit on the couch, hide from the world, and scroll the internet.
Last year, I did do Black Friday because I really wanted a PS4. And I got one. So that was a thing. But this year, no way.
Wild horses couldn't have pried me out.
Yeah, right. Hey, tokens. So you guys, I'm going to say you go back to the inn, and Cal is there waiting, having gotten her lovely nap out of the way.
Naps are good. Don't ever discount a nap.
We decided Cal had to sleep off that hangover from the night before.
That's fair. That was a little much for what was normal.
Simon is really upset because he really wanted to meet the cougar tamer.
Oh. I think he's actually met me. He just didn't know it yet.
Yeah, he just didn't know it yet. He has.
So I went by Gretchen's apartment earlier on to borrow clothes.
Yep. Ran into him.
Cute little munchkin.
Distraught little munchkin at the moment. So, what are you guys gonna do?
Oh, I'm gonna say I'm downstairs eating lunch, dinner, whatever time it is.
Yeah, what time is it?
It's probably dinner time by now. Like, it's been a long day. You've been through multiple quasi-traumatic conversations.
Okay, so I'm being nice and waiting for them for dinner, but I've got like the little bowl of nuts.
You don't know when they're gonna get back. They just left.
Oh wait, are we back yet?
Yeah, you're back at the inn.
Bart is probably at the same table, working on finishing up the horror story because he doesn't. Emotions are weird.
The rest of you, I assume you got the ashes after the burning, or are you going to go back for that?
Assumed that we got the ashes after the burning.
Yeah, so you have Andrill's
ashes.
Did
you or did you not recover your friend's body?
I assumed that the palace provided us something to transport said ashes in.
Yes, absolutely. You were given a box. I don't know. Nothing very fancy, but yes, you got something.
I didn't imagine it would be fancy. So yeah.
We'll say that was the other reason I stayed back at the inn. Someone had to wait for delivery.
Oh, they were there for the burning.
Ah, okay.
So today's been another interesting day.
Yeah.
How'd it go?
Oh yeah.
Gretchen's
out-
there, but she just sort of shakes her head and goes upstairs. At that.
So
That good, huh?
yeah. Turns out her ex-fiance was blackmailing the family because he had dirt on them, and that's what he let out about her kid brother.
So the rumors are true, and he's now spread that knowledge all over town and completely defamed the family.
Speaking of rumors, we need to start working on our counter rumor about him, and I'll flip pages and start writing down so many terrible syphilitic, the disease where your skin falls off, leprosy, all that stuff about him, and I'll start composing that ditty.
Counter rumors? Is that how we're gonna play this?
I mean, until we can get some real dirt on him.
I mean, that's how I'm playing it. I don't know about you guys. You guys can do your thing, but this is where I operate.
How bad is it? Is she? Do you think she's gonna be okay? Like,
No, the STDs, those are made up. He didn't have any of those.
I meant with her brother. I mean, I met them before, and she's really close to her little brother.
Yeah.
He's going to become a cougar investigator. No, an investigator who can become a cougar. There we go.
He really likes it.
He has new lofty aspirations.
Yeah.
You want me to teach him? I mean, I don't know if I can. I don't even know how it is I do what I do. I mean, I don't know if I could teach someone else to do it. That would be asking a lot. I mean, I could try. Maybe if we go see Andrea's people, they could help him.
Maybe just actually thought that would be a reality for him, but it seemed to get him excited and his mind off everything else that was going on. So we just kind of let him roll with it.
Yeah.
Oh.
It might be a phase. It'll be fine.
Maybe I can just let him.
Things.
Maybe I'll just let him pet me. That would be a lot easier.
Feel like he's a cougar trainer, at least.
Yeah.
And speaking of rumors, my old boss has not so politely asked me to find out who might be doing some silk running and to find out if it's legit or not.
Yeah, I heard you ask John. Have you found anything else out?
Not yet. We should probably try to find out more before I leave town, because if we go somewhere don't actually find out anything else, she might get real pissed.
Yeah, Bleacher will think you're just trying to run out on her.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't be the first time, so. Oh.
So, yeah, we discussed that a little bit earlier. Maybe trying to pose as some silk traders and try to go find Gretchen's fiance and corner him into something else we could use to blackmail him with. Maybe get him arrested. That sounds like more fun than spreading syphilis rumors, but to each their own, I guess.
We could do both. Spreading syphilis rumors would be fun too.
Is her brother safe? Do we need to steal him away or something?
I mean, they're okay for the time being.
I don't think anybody's rioting about it or anything. It's just.
I mean, she didn't seem like she was very attached to her fiance from trotting off like that, but holy crap, he sounds like an ass.
Yep.
I mean, I guess this is going to affect the family business and all that, and that's.
That's where we need a cycle or two. something else will come up. It'll die down. They make good wine.
I don't think I've ever actually tried their wine.
Think I can afford their wine, but I've heard it's good.
Me either.
Or you could put something in there about amorous relations with goats.
Oh, that's a good one. And I flip back and start scribbling that into.
Whatever, sure.
Okay, so I'll be right back.
Me. Well, let's at least order some food.
Yep. I'll just spend time drinking, relaxing, and trying to think up rumors.
Do we know? Do we have any idea where we're supposed to take Andrew's body?
I mean, there's a lot of mountains.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he kind of said we were nearby back when we were towards Lux, but who knows how near that was.
Do you still have that map? DM, do we still have that map?
I assume we still have that map, unless we got rid of that map. There's no reason you wouldn't.
I don't have it in my inventory. I'm not sure who had
Do you need me
it.
to show you that map picture again?
Yeah,
what
I'm
I'm
scrolling
getting?
it. I can't find it.
Let me find it. One moment. Oh no, that's not the right one. That's not the right one. Why is this hard to find? Nobody can find it. It's in nobody's inventory. Who knows where it is?
So we're just sitting around the table looking at our packs going, I thought you had the map. No, I gave it to you.
Wait, didn't I have it as Elric? No, or I had a map.
Oh
Maybe
no,
you
did
have
John
that.
have the map?
Maybe that's where the map went. It got burned.
Because it was one of those, like, I'd had a map because of his backstory, but I don't know if we had another map besides that one.
I thought, didn't you
I
have a
think we
map?
had one for the trip to
I
Fairway.
thought we
Yeah.
bought a map, but Elric knew the area.
Yeah.
I'm also assuming that we gathered John's personal effects before we torched him, but that could be a bit of assumption for this group.
Yeah, all 4 gold that he had, and then all of the weapons.
Yeah,
Put in a little box to bring back to the family.
I wrote down a list of everything. I didn't actually add it to my inventory yet, so.
I am re-exporting the map because God knows where it is, so that I can send it to you all again.
Yeah, all I have is the map of Vivian's.
Oh, I guess I could just put you on it and roll 20. That's what I usually do. But you know what? At this point, I'm committed to send it to you guys again.
This time I'll save
Somehow.
it to my notes file.
I'm gonna put it on Messenger, which means I have to open Facebook. This is a long process, you guys.
Well, we're just eating dinner.
At some point, I'll just be like George Allen.
Yes, put that in there. Alan.
Okay, there's your map.
No. No beer. No.
For those of you watching, too bad you don't get to see the map or listening.
I have a
It's
map.
all in your heads. It is the background of our stream. It just doesn't have the places on it very well.
At what point should I become concerned about the loud crashing noise from the other room?
Maybe when yelling happens.
Screams that go along with it, yeah.
There's
Okay.
just a fight outside the bar. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's fine. You're in a not
So where
remotely
did we
rough
meet
part of
Andrea? Was it
town.
near Lux?
Yeah, it was just outside Lux.
It's
Just
relatively
outside
close.
Lux, yeah.
Yeah, it was just north of Lex.
This is a different map than I think we saw the first time.
Is it? Maybe I didn't give you the bottom
a
half.
little
I didn't
bigger.
see any of the other this other stuff that was south of the island.
Yeah, I might not have shown you all the stuff to the south before.
But I guess the
You wouldn't
point
know
was
that. You only know
So I
the,
thought the mountains were
the
kind
continent
of
that you're
Kara, we
on.
can't hear you.
northwest.
What? Why? Why can't you hear me?
Well, good. We've lost ourselves. We've burned the map, and the DM's gone. Cool. Cool.
Sounds like a typical Saturday.
Yep.
Test. Okay, I'm back.
Hey, there you are.
You're back.
Yep.
I just don't know about this whole virtual soundboard stuff. It works okay when it works, but when it doesn't, it's a pain. Yeah, you guys didn't have, I think, the bottom half of the map, so now just pretend you don't know about that half. You haven't seen it before. Actually,
gonna
Raw,
do it
you
anyway.
you might know about the bottom half of the map, but nobody else does.
The one who's actually been around the oceans, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure we know about Faland and Sirion and maybe Aslan.
Yeah,
That's
you
where
know
the silk
the
comes-
continent.
Yeah, the silk comes through there.
Yeah. I mean, you might not know much about it, but you know enough
Exists.
about it. You know its existence, yes.
It's that other country that's,
So real quick, because this is possibly the first time that Bard has seen a map, as he, or do they like pull out the map to like look at it? Is that what they're doing?
At some point, yeah. Maybe
once
we're
we
talking
figure
about
out who had
rooms.
it,
Yeah.
Do I see any of the topography that I would kind of associate with places that I've been?
Make an intelligence check to see if you can put together topography and actual physical location. It's not as easy as you might think.
No, I
So
remember
that's
having to do a
a
test
19.
on that, and that was
What'd you
Yeah.
get? Sorry, Chris.
I got a 19.
Oh, okay. In that case, yeah. Like you start to sort of get the feeling you probably maybe ask them a couple questions. I don't know, but like, oh, these are mountains, these are forests. Start to sort of put it together. And you get the feeling, although you aren't really sure because it's a very vague, like there's mountains and trees, like whatever. But you think that maybe when you were like sort of wandering around after everything happened, you definitely remember seeing a big lake. And the mountains were to your east, probably. So you think that you were probably maybe kind of around the mountains on the east part of Valand, where there's that lake there. The one that's right underneath the mountains. Kind of south of
Okay, so
Valand.
like, yeah, north of like Lux.
East, not west.
Straight east of Lux.
Yeah, straight east of Lex.
Okay, that little body of water that's literally in the mountains.
Yeah.
I'll just kind of like jot that down.
Just
to
because
myself.
you were like, there was a lake and it was right next to a mountain and the mountains were on that side of the lake and this is the only place where that makes sense. Kind of thought process.
well. I mean, we met him about here-ish. Maybe we should start out just by going back to Lux, and then maybe in Lux we can ask some questions and try to. That one was louder. I don't know who's staying at this inn, but the walls are kind of thin. But anyway, yeah, go back to Lux, and then maybe there's some people in the area that we could ask questions and ask if they know any settlements in the mountains, or
Yeah, maybe. It'd be good to have at least some sense of direction before we just go running off. Maybe there's a good map. I don't know where you go to find out about mountain settlements.
I think a good place to start is Lux. They do kind of butt right up against the mountains.
Yeah, I mean, if someone does come down from that place, you expect they'd go to Lux of all places.
I mean, he said he was gathering news and stories for his tribe, right? I mean, there wasn't anything in his possessions, like a notebook or a journal, or...
I mean, Gred read off what was on his sword, but that's the only writing. He just had some, basic supplies and combat stuff. And at this point, I'll like lay out like he had throwing stars and some, sharp weaponry and a few other things, like not that out of the ordinary stuff.
You probably wouldn't have run into the throwing stars, really. Like, you might know what they are, but they wouldn't be like a commonplace item.
So he had a sword, and he had this, and he had these random, very sharp things. Huh.
Josh, I know you're talking, but I don't hear you.
I don't know what's going on.
No, I hear you now.
Yeah, you're back. Well, it seems like Lux would be the place to start.
Yeah.
I mean, did we already ask Sean if he knew anything?
Maybe he would know who to ask.
Yeah, is there like a
Or like they have the little
cartographer? Or...
Yeah, they had like the little library at the castle, but maybe
it was mostly war books, except for the one on the elephants.
Yeah, but he's rich and smart. He might know where other smart people places are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people we want to ask, because it sounds like his tribe is pretty secretive. But...
He made it sound like, they kind of kept themselves and didn't want to interact. That's why they sent him out. So,
yeah.
Hey, speaking of reunions, Cal, have you stopped by your shop since you've been back?
I have not. I should. I should at least let her know I'm alive. I'm just afraid if I go back there, she'll... No, I just passed out after you guys left. My head was pounding so hard.
I mean, you could drop off those herbs and just be like, "Hi, bye, going out to get more. All right, see you later. Just save the world. Don't worry about it."
Could just tell her that we lost a companion and we'd like to return his body to the family, I guess.
Yeah.
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 If she doesn't believe that, you could just lie and say that you're running off with your pirate boyfriend.
I really don't want to get the City Watch called on you.
It's okay. I'm just a fancy, totally normal, indistinguishable person now.
Oh yeah, Ra is wearing his fancy clothes still, I assume.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely swing by. I want to see if there's any books or anything. I still want to know. See if we can find more research about ghosts and ghouls and creepy things that can talk into people's mind and turn servants into... Yeah,
what if we spend a little time trying to figure out what we can here before heading over to Lux, so I can not have my old captain kill me, and so that maybe we know where we're going, and maybe that we know more about these ghost things.
Okay. So I'm gonna make a list.
Do we maybe want to go back to that island? I don't want to, but I mean,
I don't want to either. For taking votes.
We need to find more about creepy stuff on island.
I mean, we discovered that there's an afterlife. Like, a part of me wants to explore that. The other part of me remembers how traumatizing it was and doesn't want to go back.
That's why we need to do more research. We need to know what we're walking into. Instead of just
90% of the reason I wanted to take Andrew's body back. He seemed to know about these magical things. And
oh, that's a good point. Maybe we could.
you guys all figured out random magical things, and I just feel like I can shoot things really good. I want to learn magic too, but since you guys obviously don't have a clue how you do anything that you do, it's not very helpful.
Well, I have prayed to the Lady of the Sea my whole life, so I think that's why, because it feels like she's giving me a nudge now. It's kind of how it feels. So,
Yeah, I've been praying to Dwayne my whole life, but he hasn't given me anything.
maybe you should pray harder. Or just have a drink, and I'll pass him my water flask.
Wait, pray to who? Do I know that deity, that faith?
Dwayne, he's the god of growing things, earth, harvest.
I probably would, yeah.
I don't remember what we named our gods, but yes, you probably
And
would.
the Lady of the Sea, Mariah, and Indra.
See, your notes are way
Yeah,
possibly more concise than mine. I'm like, where is my whole thing about that?
the sea god didn't get named because Ra isn't great
yes,
with
Dwayne.
the
There he
formal
is.
names.
We just decided she who shall not be named, you know. The lady. It's enigmatic like the sea. And we ran out of names. Other than that.
I wrote down the Lady of the Sea.
Yeah, that's what I have. And we have also the goddess Mariah and the god Indra. I found my notes.
Okay. Okay, so we want to do some research and find out more about the creepy stuff on the island. We need to try to talk to people, like, and see if there's better maps, or if anyone knows anything about a secret tribe that lives in the mountains near Lux. Ra, you said you were supposed to talk to some people about Silk to get some information back to your captain,
Yeah.
so she doesn't get mad and chase us around. So that's probably near the top of the list. And then we do need to make sure Gretchen's family is taken care of. I don't know what she needs, but I mean, we could at the very least start sending these rumors, and that's a lot to do.
And figure out how he can do magic. And I'll point it.
Make Duncan do magic. Sure, it's on the list.
Super jealous.
Have you
Well,
just
the
tried
flip-
like shooting things harder?
Well, I'm already really good at shooting things. I mean, it'd be great if they exploded when I hit them or something fun, but
I mean,
Might as well try that, I guess.
I was okay with a sword at first, and now I can hit things really hard with a sword. So, I mean, maybe, right?
oh, that's another
There
thing
you
on my
go.
list of things to do. I want you to teach me how to use a sword, because I know basics, but when we got in that fight at the palace, oh my god, did I suck at it
Yeah, we
compared to the people who've been training their whole lives.
can spar a little more. They made us learn how to use every type of weapon on the ship, and then we kind of stuck with what we were good at, because like the big heavy stuff was too clunky. But yeah, like, you know, it was weird too. We trained a lot, and then nobody ever attacked us. But I heard of other people getting attacked, but yeah, maybe it's because everybody knew us wherever we went. So I don't know. Anyway, yeah, we can spend some time each day sparring. Try not to cut each other too bad.
Most of our time.
So
So yeah, would I know of a cartographer in town? I mean, I come here and sell things in the market all the time, but that seems like something that wouldn't be sold in the
Yeah,
normal
not
marketplace.
Really. No.
not one that would show a hidden tribe in the mountain.
Or just any map of the mountain.
Well, and there's no chart shops here because you don't need charts to run rivers.
You follow the one stream of water to where it
Yeah.
goes.
So down on the coast, you have to get like charts and charts and charts to, yeah. And they're a big deal. But
How's a chart
here-
different than a map?
there's all kinds of like stuff with like water currents and seasons and wind current. Like there's all kinds of extra stuff, and it's mostly a bunch of gibberish to me. But I can recognize a sailing chart when I see one. Because yeah, like you go at the one time it's great, and then a couple weeks later, a couple months later, it's the opposite, and it's the worst trip ever. There's a reason why sailing's a skill.
Never really been on a ship.
Me neither.
Yeah, we'll change that at some point. Maybe.
You've been on a ship to rescue somebody.
Yeah, it wasn't out at sea though.
No, it was not.
It was a little boat.
No, it was a
Well,
ship.
it
It was a
doesn't.
big ship.
Oh, we did go
Yes.
on a ship, yeah. But if it
Yeah.
wasn't sailing, it was docked in the harbor.
It's
So that
docked
doesn't
in the
count.
harbor. Yeah.
It's not an ocean voyage.
No, I'm just saying you have been on a ship.
Totally
Yes.
forgot about that. Completely.
It was a long time ago.
That was like back in March. The first March.
Okay, so what are you
Well-
guys doing?
So
Uh,
it seems like we have some stuff we need to do in town first. Like some more research, some possible espionage or silk trading. And then I guess we need some time for Bard to send some rumors and make sure Gretchen's family's okay and nothing bad's going to happen to her brother if she runs off again. Well, nothing worse anyway. That poor kid.
yeah, I mean, worst case, we just throw him a big sack of gold and he can find his own path. It'll be fine.
Or get mugged in an alley like his sister.
Yeah, so maybe.
No.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Maybe we teach him how to use a knife first.
Well, it's getting late, so maybe we stay here another night. And then we talked about going out to Duncan's farm.
It's just to lay low.
I should probably go back to the pitcher pot and maybe I should do that this evening.
Well, I know you got a nap, but I'm getting kind of tired.
Yep. Me too.
Just don't, like, if you talk to Maeve or anybody, don't mention the cougar thing, please. I don't
Do what we can.
know where I come down on that yet. Yeah, it's just all so new. I can turn into a cat. Like, that's still doesn't feel real. All right, so I'm gonna go do that, and then meet back here in the morning.
Yeah. Sounds good.
I'm gonna go knock on the door of the other room. 'Cause I'm assuming we're all like in one of our rooms. And like, Gretchen,
I'm okay.
You okay?
I just have a headache. I need to sleep.
Okay. I'm gonna go back to the shop. The others will be here. We can.
Um,
We'll
I'll
see you
ask
in the
real,
morning.
I'll ask real quick to Gretchen and or the group because myself and my character have forgotten the name of the count and countess that were with the hippie lady at court.
Dumarche.
Dimash.
Yeah. So he'll ask that, and then scribble off a note to Kalitri about still working. If your contacts are the Demarches, they probably did treason, all spelled poorly. Also, if George Allen's your contact, he sets people up for his own gain. And that's what I'll write for now.
Okay.
Because I haven't found any real details out, so I'll just start shit talking the people that I know are bad.
Yeah. We haven't
Okay.
stayed either. That's just south of town. In pursuit of the tree opener.
Yep.
Just in case we didn't have enough other things to do.
Okay, so Cal, you're going back to your shop.
Yep.
Did you want anyone to come with you?
Would you?
Sure.
Thanks.
So just
Yeah.
I think someone should stay here with Gretchen. I don't want her running off and doing anything stupid.
Yeah, maybe make sure she doesn't get mugged in an alley again.
what's Bard doing?
He can either stay with Gretchen or he'll start putting out information about both George Allen and I think that was pretty much it. All he was doing was starting to spread rumors about George Allen.
Okay.
You get on that.
And is Duncan going to stay here or go with? Okay. Okay. Then Ra and Cal go back to the shop, which, it being evening, is closed up. But you obviously have a key to get in, Cal, and you know that she's has a little like a little apartment above the shop that Maeve lives in.
I'll knock before I come in. Just
Knock on the shop door.
yeah.
You don't get an answer.
Oh, I'm gonna go towards the back of the shop where they like keep the books and things. Just take a brief look through there to see if there's anything that might be relevant to anything we're doing.
Did you bring your herbs with you that you collected?
I did, yes.
Okay. Make an investigation check.
Dice. Da, da, da. I rolled a 12, which is a 13.
Okay. You don't find anything, and you know that Maeve doesn't believe in anything supernatural. She's very, non-superstitious. You have a similar mindset that way. And
Had.
So, yeah. And so you're not surprised that you don't find anything about ghosts or whatever. But you do You do find a book of really rare flowers and herbs that you think maybe might have something to do with what's it called that you learned about on the island. But you
Okay.
don't really find anything else.
I guess I'll go upstairs and
Want me to hang back and
yeah, maybe you just wait here. I don't think she really approves of you.
yeah, I mean, who does? So
I do.
yeah, it's fine.
Okay, just don't break anything. Um,
I'm already like was like reaching to like look at something, and I'm just like, okay.
yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna go upstairs.
Okay. And there's a door separating, obviously, the upstairs apartment from the shop. And it's closed, but it locks, but it doesn't look like it's locked.
I'm gonna knock on that too.
Okay. And a few seconds later, you sort of hear, "Who is it?"
Maeve, it's Cal.
"Cal!" And you hear sort of a rustling and moving about on the other side of the door. And then the door opens and Maeve is there in her big warm robe. "Cal, you're back!" And she reaches out to give you a hug.
Yeah.
"Oh, come in, come in."
Thank you. I did get those herbs, at least some of them. I mean, I've got vervain and this one.
Oh, very good. Yes, that's great. It's great. Not as maybe as much as I had anticipated. You were gone for quite some time, but
Yeah, we the caravan wound up getting a little close to the war front, and
oh dear, are you all right?
I
And she
am.
like motions
but,
for you to sit down.
Yeah, no, I'm okay, but one of my friends wasn't. They didn't make it.
Oh my.
It was. I mean, we actually saw a battlefield.
Well, I certainly have never
Like
done
there-
that. What was it? Is it too much? Here, let me make you some tea.
Oh yeah, thank you. It was a lot.
Yes, I imagine. But you're okay.
I'm okay.
Well, that's what's
How are
most
you?
important.
How are things here?
Oh, it's been very busy. I missed having you. It's so good to have you back. I didn't realize how much I was counting on you to be helpful.
Oh, I try. I heard there was some excitement at the palace, some kind of attack, or
Oh, yes, something. I don't really know much about it. It didn't trickle down here very much. They wanted some extra healing herbs, but once I sent those, I didn't hear much.
well, that's good. Oh,
But tell me what happened. How did your friend die? Were you caught in the battle?
not in the battle itself, but we ran into a group of soldiers, and it just I don't know. They weren't even after us. Like they were going for the Volandian troops, but we got in the way, and
Oh dear.
I don't know. My friend and I were separated from the others, and we came across them, and I think
Was
he
it
tried
that
to pull a
sailor
knife
type
or...
that was hanging out here before?
No, this was, he was more of a mercenary.
Oh, you were not sure about your
Well,
current
not,
friends, Cal.
not like a mercenary, but he was hired on as like a guide for the caravan.
I see. So not a close
I mean,
friend then.
we got to be kind of close. I mean, not like nothing proper. Just he was nice. I've never really had friends before.
Yes, that's why I'm a little concerned about you. You go running off with a sailor and a mercenary and come back and you've lived a very sheltered life, Cal. This is a lot for you. How are
It was
you
good
really?
though. I saw so many things. Into the mountains and yeah,
There's
I mean,
mountains right to the west.
yeah, but down south, like there's different wildflowers and
Well, yes, that's what the herb gathering was for.
yeah,
I'm
there's so many different people and like from different cultures and
yes,
like
I'm
this
sure
guide
there
friend
are.
of mine was from somewhere in the mountains near Lux. Like
I didn't know there were very many communities in the mountains near Lux.
apparently they don't get a lot of visitors, but he had some great stories to tell and there's so much just outside of Vivienne's and the farm.
Yes, I'm sure there is. I just want you to be safe and well, and I know you're
Well,
safe when you're here.
I don't think I'll be going back down near the border anytime soon. That was a lot.
Yes, I imagine. I'm very glad that you were all right.
Yeah, we actually got attacked up closer to Vivienne's. I think something to do with what happened out at the palace. There was
Oh, so it wasn't at the border at all.
no, there were Syriandians in Vivienne's itself.
There were? I hadn't heard that. How on earth would that happen?
I have no idea. But yeah, we ran into some of them and I don't know, I think this war is changing.
Well, I hope for the better.
I hope so.
But if they're getting into Vivienne, then that sounds much like it is the worst.
I think there's magic involved.
Cal, there's no such thing as magic. You know that.
I thought I did, but some of the things I've seen, they...
Smoke and mirrors, darling. Now, here's your tea.
Oh, thank you.
And I assume you'll want to stay here tonight?
Yeah, I'll stay for tonight at least. I think some of us are going to try to take my friend's body back to his family. Not the full body, we had him cremated.
Back to his mountain town outside of Lux?
Yes.
But you just got back.
I know. I'll stay for a little while, but I would like to go with them and just... You know how important it is for families to get closure. I'd like to be able to do that for them.
Yes, I understand that, and you have a very generous heart, but you are needed here.
I know. I'm sorry to have left you alone. That's...
And I know you're nearing the end of your apprenticeship, and soon you'll have the freedom to do whatever it is that you want to do. And I'd hoped that you'd stay on with me.
I still want to.
Are you sure? Because it sounds to me like perhaps you want to do some traveling.
Maybe I don't know. It's just,
And I know you're very tired. I need someone to help me run the shop, Cal, and if it's not going to be you, then perhaps I need to find another apprentice. And I'm not kicking you out, and of course you're always welcome here. But if you're not going to be here, then I need help.
yes, I understand that.
So I just need you to decide what you want. Because of course you are always my first choice, first priority. And I would love to have you stay. And if you need to
You've
be
been
gone
so
for a
good
while,
to me.
well, you've been good to me as well. So just sleep on it. Let me know in the morning. There was a girl in a couple days ago who expressed an interest, and I could talk to her if I need temporary help or more permanent help. I just need to know.
Okay, yes, I absolutely. Thank you for the tea.
Of course. Always. And your room is as you left it.
Thank you. I'll let you get to bed.
All right.
I'll see you in the morning.
Well, sleep well. And she pats you on the head in a way that she's been doing since you were 12 or whatever. Sort of ruffles your hair a little bit and then gives you a hug back and goes to bed.
I'll go back downstairs. Rah?
I'm picking up some like dried stuff that was in a little crate that I had knocked over at some point and was putting it back.
I said don't touch anything.
Why? We're gone a long time. I had to.
The broom's over here.
All right, I'll take care of it. How did that go?
I mean, it went well. She's worried about me, and she said I need to decide if I'm going to stay as her apprentice or if I want to do something else. I like you guys. I like going places with you guys. I've seen so much more of the world, and it's nice to have friends. But I don't know, this was my dream for a while, that I would open my own shop. And
Yeah. I mean,
I still have to support my family. I don't. That's a hard choice. I mean, we'll be in town for a couple days, right? So I can
yeah, we can
have a little bit of time. But
think on it. I mean, it seems like we learned a lot during our last trip. I mean, it had its downsides, but
yeah, and I mean, John knew more. Andrew, whoever he was, knew more about people like me. Like, there might be others out there that I could learn from. And said people could fly. Can you imagine what it would be like to fly?
I've been up in the crow's nest in a stiff breeze, and it's closest I've ever been to flying, and it's quite a feeling. I can't imagine what really flying would be like, but probably.
I don't know if I could turn my back on that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe now we have an opportunity to go talk to some folks that can teach you even more. I learned a lot when I worked in the port and would go out on day sails and go fishing every day. But I learned a heap more, most of what I know after I went out to sea and got to see all manner of different sailors and things. So
Until
pleasure, pretty
recently,
fun
I've
to hang
spent
around.
most of my life in Vivian's and surrounding countryside. That's
I mean, it's nice enough here, but I don't think I could stay in one place for long.
there's just so much more than I ever realized.
Hey, you said you have gardens out back, right?
Yeah,
Do they need to be watered?
probably. I
I
usually
think
haul stuff in from the well, but
here. I think I can help, and I'll walk out back if Cal lets me, like, leads me out there,
yeah, I'm curious as to what he's going to do.
and I'll grab my necklace. It has the like water symbol on it, and mumble some words real quick, and I'm going to create water and have it rain all around us for a second.
Did you just
So,
drown the plants?
I mean, it's like a decent rain in like a whatever radius.
They might get a little pummeled. The earth isn't quite prepared for it, but they're okay.
Maeve doesn't believe in magic.
Well, maybe we should have had her out here. I could do it again, but I don't want to
And
drown
no,
everyone.
I don't think the plants would appreciate that. But
Sure, but
maybe we just have to break it to her gently. I mean, I didn't believe in magic a month ago.
yeah. I mean, did you try showing her that you could turn into a cougar?
I don't know what she'd think of that. That's a lot. I mean, that would probably change her mind about magic, but it might also change her mind about me. And I'm not ready for that.
Okay, maybe we'll make it rain for her first.
That might be better.
Cool. All right.
Okay, meanwhile, back at the inn, Bard, make a performance check for your rumor spreading performance.
Just a 13.
Just a 13? Okay. You notice that there's people listening and chatting and some giggling going on and what have you. But you don't really notice, like, people running around, like, outside of the inn to go tell people anything. Like, it's just kind of get the feel, like, people are finding it amusing, if nothing else.
Water obviously has a grudge.
Make it catchy.
And I don't know, Duncan, are you listening to that, or are you upstairs sleeping?
I'm upstairs. I'm not sleeping. I'm just hanging out, making sure Gretchen doesn't leave or try to run away, or
Okay.
I don't know what she's going to do, but
You don't note any movement from her room.
okay. I'm probably just sharpening my daggers and
Okay.
getting ready for a journey.
All right. Cal, are you going to stay at the shop, or are you going to go back to the inn with Ra?
I'm going to stay at the shop.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll
And I'm
head
going to
back.
grab that Rare Flowers and Herbs book and read up on the violet before I go to sleep.
Okay. You weren't able to find out anything you didn't already remember about the violet, but it helps to have it in print. Like, yes, I was correct.
It's just nice to have books.
Yeah. Okay, and so you get back. Everybody, I assume, at some point goes to bed. Unless you have anything else you want to do before bed.
I
And-
continue to just work on my song and
Okay.
just kind of quiet down after a little while.
Yeah. And you're definitely, you know, people are entertained for sure whenever you're doing your actual performing. Okay. And y'all get your long rest. Not that you needed it per se, except for one like create water spell. And morning
Emotional
dawns.
hit points back to max.
Yes, make sure you do that. And it's a little bit dreary today. It's overcast. Little sprinkling rain. Not pouring or anything, just, you know, a little dreary. So, you know, maybe you wake up a little late because the sun doesn't wake you up. It's kind of overcast and gray. But eventually everybody wakes up. And, I don't know, stumble downstairs for breakfast or whatever it is that you all do for your morning routine.
And again, more often in the mornings.
What's that?
I'm going to start praying again more often in the mornings.
Okay, yeah. You have a nice prayer session. Ra
Yeah.
has his morning
Bath,
washing.
ablutions, prayer. Yeah.
I'm already playing when everyone gets down.
Bard is a very one-track mind.
I'm gonna stay and help open up the store.
Okay.
I let it go unsaid, but I would have told everyone that Cal was staying back at her place.
Okay. And Maeve doesn't press you for an answer, Cal. She's just sort of waiting for you to let her know.
Yeah, I'm just like pretending everything's normal.
Mm-hmm.
Opening the shop,
Yeah, and she just goes along with it.
put out the sign, dust the counter.
And what are everybody's plans for the day?
Feel like I'm beholden to whatever Ra feels like he needs to get done before we leave town.
Yeah, we should probably go ask around a bit, I guess. We could check in because Jean said he was going to look into some stuff.
Oh,
You want a quick? We could spend some time working on a few techniques. Like
Yeah.
with you know, this sort of like short sword or rapier, you can. It's more about getting around their sword and then being able to lunge in, kind of. So if you do like this, and like rather than slashing, because you'll mess up your sword that way. If you just try to swing it like it's an axe, and so you can get the point around where you want it, and then use it to get through their defenses more readily. So you can like
playing fighting music in the back.
yeah. I wouldn't necessarily be doing this in the bar, but maybe if no one's around. But we
Assume
can
we're
work
in
on
a
a little.
range.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we can work on just like little techniques here and there at like slow speed, and then so like this, or if like, you know, they're trying to like parry, you can like feint and then like go for it and fake them out. And yeah, so we'll just do a little quick lesson and then go on with the day.
Fun fact, when I was taking fencing, they did have us spar occasionally with spoons as an exercise. Which is what I'm imagining you guys doing over the table.
I assume I have my real sword when we're in the room, not facing anything.
Yep.
Wishing that I had a
Spoon dueling
blunt.
is so much funnier. Especially if you get the parry right, you could boop them on the nose.
Yeah, I think most of the actual instruction I ever received was done with a chunk of broomstick in my hand.
Oh, that sounds useful for technique.
Yeah, a little less.
See the soldiers playing with, you know, swords that aren't sharp. But I don't know why I'd buy a sword that isn't sharp. I guess for practice.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about keeping it up. It's just blunt. Won't
Yeah.
cut people's arms off as easy, you know.
As easy.
So
Yeah. I've seen some broken arms, but I guess those heal.
yeah. Yeah, let's go see if we can find out from the rich, fancy talking people.
Yeah. You get paid for being rich.
Right? I still don't know how that works.
They picked Be Rich at Career Day. I thought we established that.
Like, I mean, you make things grow and you harvest them. You know, digging holes, filling them in, using your hands. I tie knots and pull on lines and climb up and down things and move cargo.
Paid for it, yeah.
I don't get how they talk and then get more money than who knows what to do. I don't know.
I mean, that's what I do.
I mean, I guess. But like they're not even like singing. They're just talking.
Once you get good enough at it, you make money from it. That's what my mentor did. He just did it long enough, did it good enough, and he had money.
Like
Yeah,
just
like-
ice making.
Maybe I missed my calling as a musician. I sure
Maybe.
can't sing, but I can play. I pull out my pan flute. I don't think I've ever played for you guys before. I play like a little ditty.
Make a performance
see?
check.
9.
It's recognizable.
Practice been quite a while. Yeah, he used to play and he taught me. I used to play all the time with him, but we kind of just got busy and different things took priority.
Yeah. Bard, did you want to come with us? Go chat with the rich talkie folk that we know?
That sounds like as good a plan as I have.
Cool. Maybe Jean will like our rumors you're working on spreading.
I mean, I did work on them all night, so there should be some good rumors planted out there that hopefully will start coming to fruition.
Awesome. All right.
Okay, so you all go back to Jean's house. Once
Yeah.
again, you catch him like just sort of finishing up, getting ready for the day. And you know the routine by now. Like you get ushered into the sitting room, and after a few minutes, he comes in and kind of goes over and greets everybody. And Gretchen's there as well, and she's just very silent, very pale. And so he sort of gives her a little extra greeting, like a little wink. Well, what can I do for all of you today?
I was coming to see if you had found anything out about any sort of silk upstarts, or maybe folks that have been dealing with questionable stuff.
I did ask my father if he knew anything, but he doesn't. Silk isn't particularly... I told you this already. Legal, as it were. And I believe I told you that my uncle does do some silk dealing on the side a little bit. But as far as actual trade with Siriand and silk, he didn't know anything about that. He did suggest that we keep I specifically keep an eye out for anybody offering silk. I tend to go to the clothiers fairly often, so if I were to find any that were, unusually silk rich, as it were, that might be a good starting place.
Mm.
But I didn't have a chance to do that. Of course, it requires things like appointments that I haven't had time to make. So I could certainly do that. I could always use a new waistcoat.
I mean,
Dawn's cat is very pushy.
I wouldn't want to get between a man and his waistcoat. But yeah, any help you could render in that area would be great. Other question: Do you know any really juicy dirt on her ex-fiance? We're working on some rumors, but if we have some truth to spread with them, that might help.
He keeps himself. Everybody knows that he works a little dirty, but nobody talks about it, and he keeps himself very above board in all his official dealings. Nobody particularly likes him, but he sort of looks over at Gretchen. Sorry, I've got a cat biting my headphones. I'm sorry, Gretchen. I don't think you're too upset by me saying that. And she just shakes her head. Yeah, nobody particularly likes him, but he has a lot of power and influence, and so everybody keeps him around.
I have heard syphilis make people act differently, so that might be part of it.
I haven't noticed him acting particularly unusual lately, but perhaps.
Perhaps it's an ongoing syphilis then.
It could be, I suppose. Seems slightly far-fetched, but perhaps. Certainly if I haven't heard of him needing any medical help of any kind, but I don't know that I would. You could ask the royal physician wouldn't know. I wouldn't have a clue how to approach that particular. Are you just never mind. So
it's just the rumor on the street is that he visited a pleasure house. I don't know what they're actually called in this game. And that's what the rumor around town is syphilis.
It could be. As far as I know, any pleasure house attended by his rank would probably be fairly clean, but it certainly could be.
He brought it there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, no, they weren't very happy about that.
Aha. Interesting.
I'm so glad my character's wearing a mask so that I can just smile it.
Well, that is interesting, I suppose. I don't really spend a lot of time thinking about his health. But I don't really know very much about him, to be honest. I tend to avoid him when possible.
Or maybe it's because some people have taken to quietly calling him George Allen, but I don't know why. It's escaped me.
I also haven't heard that, but fascinating. Where are you learning these things?
Oh, I'm a bard around the city, and as you know, we hear all of the news.
Of course. Yes, what do you know about me?
Sorry, I have explosions happening outside my door.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Civil, stop dropping things when I'm having conversations with my guests.
What mild, half-truths, like when I'm spreading what I have heard about him.
You could make a history check to see if you've heard anything, because I don't know what you would have heard. We'll find out.
Just a 12. So I'll make up. I imagine I don't know a lot, so I'd probably just make up something.
Yeah, you would know his lineage and whatever. He's a merchant.
Right, so I'll probably just go with crabs or something mild like that.
Oh, well, that is patently false, but I'm not sure where you're
no
getting your
problem.
rumors, sir.
Sorry, what was that? I had explosions.
He was just like, oh, what are you even talking about? Well, was there anything else I can help you all with?
I know that you probably know this better than anyone, or probably more than anyone in our group. Some of them, like Cal, that's not here, she had wanted to do some research. Do you know if there's a library or a really good bookstore or something that might have all manner of esoteric things?
Esoteric things. One of the temple libraries, perhaps. I don't think that anything... No, I can't really think of much else. If there is a bookseller that has such items, I don't know about it. There certainly could be, but I can't imagine they'd make a lot of money.
Are those temples pretty closed off? I don't know much about them because...
No, not particularly. I don't know about getting into their libraries, but in general, they certainly welcome the public.
Maybe. What about... Is there like a... And I know where they're at in Pevset, but are there any good map shops here that might have really detailed maps and charts and things?
Oh, of course, yes. Are you looking for a specific region?
I'll check kind of around... I know that in Lux would be better, but the area around Lux probably.
It's in between Valand and the Wastes, trying to take Andril back to his tribe, and we're very unfamiliar with that area. I know it's somewhat uncharted.
As far as I know, you might have the best luck talking to the royal cartographer. He does maps of Sirion, or Valand. I don't know. I mean, you could try one of the shops, but I don't know if they'd have much for that far out around here. Certainly.
I just assumed the palace would have maps dating back a little bit, because this all used to be, as you well know, boundaries are fairly fluid in the recent century.
I suppose. With Sirion, anyway, I don't think that the border to the Wastes has changed much.
Well, I wouldn't know at all.
I imagine, yes, if you checked at the palace, they likely have any number of maps.
That sounds like a good place to start.
Probably the best lead that we've had.
Yeah. Any
would
news
you
about
like
the,
to come in with me? I could give you an introduction.
That would be...
Yeah,
we'd be very grateful. Yeah.
Perfect, yeah. Should we go grab Cal first?
But I don't think they're going to let us wander.
Yeah.
You'd probably have to change again, Duncan. And Bard, you said your name was?
Yes.
You might need also to wear slightly more court-appropriate garb. Ra, I see you're, I assume, still wearing your gentlemanly clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'd be fine. Gretchen, of course, you always look lovely.
I trouble you for an outfit. I don't much own Any
I mean, we could
gentlemanly
go.
clothes?
We could go pick some stuff up too. Get you fitted out while we go get Cal.
My blood pressure starts going up. I just think Raw looks so ridiculous. I can't even picture myself in it. But I do suppose being able to pass as a gentleman is a worthwhile skill. Practicing becoming one, not just looking like one.
Well, if you want to be in and out of the palace, it does come in handy. All right, well, meet back here in an hour? Is that enough
Sure.
time? 2 hours?
Yeah. Greg, can you maybe not quite this fancy, but maybe stop at the same place and get them something?
Yeah, of course. I could do that. Yes, I'll do that.
Cool. I'll go get Cal and we'll meet back up here.
Okay. So, Bard, do you also let Gretchen dress you?
Yeah, I mean, because obviously he's not going to go get fitted, so
Yeah, with some adjustments, and she knows about you, so she's able to make the proper adjustments.
Nothing that'll show grease stains.
And you all meet back. Sean takes you to the palace, where he introduces you to the royal cartographer, and you are taken to the map room, which is indeed full of maps. Oh, Cal, before you left, did you say anything to Maeve, or did you just leave? Like, as far as your plans for the future?
I didn't say anything.
Okay.
I just kind of said I was going to run out for the afternoon.
Okay. So yeah, you were able to find many, many maps.
You see Cal's eyes get really big.
Yeah.
Of the entirety of Aland, of the continent. You even find a map that looks like the map that you were given, so you now know slightly what's to the south. You don't know what's there, but you know that there's islands and stuff.
at some point, if everyone's quiet, Bard will, because we're with a guy who like knows maps, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
I'll point to the spot that he vaguely maybe kind of remembered, and so what might be over here?
Well, that is a place. There's not much there, actually. It's fairly empty as far as I know.
Okay, thank you.
A little more arid, so there's not as much agriculture. In the non-rain side of the mountains, which has a name that the photographer would know, but I don't remember.
Rain shadow.
The rain shadow. There aren't any large villages around there, towns. I'm sure there are probably some settlers, but don't know much about them.
Thank you. That was helpful.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm curious to know more just about the history of the continent. I've been told that we were all once one country and then broke off into smaller countries, and that the boundaries have been moving with the war. How long have we been separate countries? I figure you would know that, and I don't have a clue. I just wanted a history lesson.
Yes, it was quite
Lord
some time
help.
ago. It was almost lost to history, as it were. But a long time ago, Thailand didn't have borders, as you mentioned. But then there became a bunch of nation states, city states. It was broken up a great deal more than it is today. And history, or mythology as it were, says that this was when the magical kingdoms also existed in Thailand. But At some point, the nation states began to consolidate. They created alliances, and the kingdoms became larger and eventually became the 4 to 5 kingdoms that you see in Tilland to this day. If you consider the Wastes a kingdom, which is pushing it a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot of sand up there.
Yes. There are some nomadic tribes. I don't know that they have any central organization there.
Well, I think there's a little here, and like here there's the near side of the wastes where they come to the coast to trade. But I know that they also trade up. The ones that can't make it all the way east, a lot of times they'll go to here and trade because that's where we used to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you do think they have some kind of central organization?
I mean, I don't know about organization, but they tend to gather there because it's a convenient spot for us to ship, as convenient as it can be for the folks in that region.
Yes, that makes sense. And what, I mean, I'm certainly heard, but if you have first-hand experience, what sort of trade goods do they have?
Not much. There are some folks that do live on the coast that do a lot of fishing in the northern waters.
So less nomadic then.
So, like, there's still not. I mean, there's not many resources up there, so I'm not sure how. Like the sort of harbor where we would stop became like a kind of town. Like it's not super settled, but it's one of the few spots that's convenient for anchoring a ship and doing trading. So that's become a kind of spot. But I don't know about elsewhere, but I know that they do some fishing and some other things.
So you said there was a settlement right here, and you sort of point at the map. Does it have a name of any form?
It's just past the Cape. I honestly don't know. I did get, pardon me for this, see, I am learning, and then we'll loosen my shirt a little and pull it to the side, and below some of my tattoos here, there'll be one that's a little bit different styled. Maybe like, I actually got this from one of the nomads up there, and they said it was, they would give it to folks that they knew were friends of theirs.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I don't know much of what else they do, but we would haul up fresh goods, stuff they couldn't get really, or didn't want to try to, truck over the mountains. And then, we would bring back, of the fishing stuff. Usually it was like oils and stuff from the rendered fats that are from the northern seas. And I don't know. We never fished on my boat. So, but we would bring back plenty of that and various other things.
Fascinating. Thank you. I might have to quiz you some more at some other time.
I mean, that's pretty much all I got. So, but there was they did have more like tents rather than like buildings. So, I mean, maybe the whole little camp was temporary, but I don't know.
I see. Yes.
So,
did you have other questions, sir, about the history of Tilland?
No, I was just curious. I mean, I was talking with Jean de la Borders, and he said us in Syria had been, and that's pretty much the only border that's been changed. I guess I'd never heard anything about warring between the other nation states.
There hasn't been nearly as much. The borders with the other states are fairly stable. It's just Syriand. We've been at war with for many, many, many years. I'd say nearly 100 years. Off and on, of course. It hasn't been constant, but that border has certainly been the most shifting and the cause of the war. It's our land, but of course they believe it's their land, and there's some question about the legitimacy of their throne, and of course they think there's some question about the legitimacy of our throne, and who should be ruling which nation, etc., etc., etc.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. I don't know if Jean told you there. We're trying to go up into the mountain region that separates us and the wastes, and
Oh, indeed. Well, very little is known about those in modern times. Anything you find out would be very helpful.
okay, so you don't know of any settlements or anything up in the mountainous
Trails,
regions,
passes.
or any way to
Of course,
successfully
yes,
navigate them.
there are a couple of passes. And he shows you on the map. There's this one here, and then there's one up to the north of that here. As far as I know, there's no settlements along the passes. It's fairly inhospitable up in the mountains, from what I've heard.
Are those closer to Vivian's and Suarez, or are those passes near Lux?
So one of them is, well, actually, they're kind of both where the map kind of makes little V's to the left, by the lake, by the big lake, kind of. Those two little
Okay.
V's there are the two passes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so it seems Lux would be our best starting point to
They
get up
may
in
know
there.
more. If so, then they're holding back on me, but such things happen. But yes, if you find any information, there aren't many caravans that go over the mountains. As your friend mentioned, it's typically goods are shipped back and forth between the wastes and Valand. And some explorers have attempted to go into the mountains and never come back. Some cartographers. Some have, but haven't found anything of note. Very, very, very historically, it was one of the magical kingdoms in our mythology. But
Do you know where that part was? Like where the kingdom was said to be?
well, let me look. And he sort of goes through piles of maps and then sort of pulls one out. And it's sort of covered in like a very different political map setup than the one that you have. Obviously, this is very, very, very old. It's like almost crumbling. So if you see here, there's these borders around the mountains and up to Lux, sort of that southern range, was considered the kingdom of Veriland, but which was, I don't know, some magical kingdom, I believe, of some form. According to mythology, I assume it was just a very hermit-like people, perhaps, that didn't interact much with their neighbors. But he does, on that map, you do see that there is like a little dot for like the capital city of the kingdom, which is up in the mountains.
This whole time, after talking about the wastes, Ra has been looking at the giant map with the southern lands in it, and kind of just eyeing them and not paying much attention to anyone else.
Okay. Oh, that territory you've never been to before. Is there anything else? Any other questions anybody has?
Yeah, every map I have seen is stopped at, with the continent and these islands right here.
Yes.
This stuff further to the south, I only ever heard rumors and stories about sea monsters and massive storms that would take any boat that tried to cross to them.
Yes, very little is known about them due to those things. I don't know about the sea monsters, but certainly storms, and sailors are a superstitious lot, as I'm sure you know. Of course, there are endless tales of sirens and so forth to the south. This map here is one of the best ones we have of those land masses, due to an explorer who was down there, oh dear, I'd say well over 100 years ago. He didn't spend much time on land because it was apparently very dangerous, but he did find some details. I have a feeling that some of this may be from his imagination, as it were, but perhaps some of it is real. Certainly, he's very, very convinced there was an island, archipelago. I suddenly don't know how to pronounce anything. And archipelago. And some landmass to the southeast that seemed very marshy and had mountains. But he spoke of all kinds of mythological creatures and very, very flight of fancy. It was his books are quite fascinating if you ever get a chance to read any.
What's it called?
Yeah, what's his name?
Oh, that was Sir Leonard Orlin. And he wrote many books.
Interesting. Yeah, the only things I ever hear, especially in these southern islands, is all just that it's all myth and fairy tales and such.
So he's the poor bastard that brought back the first platypus.
Very, very much, I think he perpetuated many of those myths and fairy tales.
Capital of Veriland have a name? Or was it
Not
just a
on the
dot
map.
on the
It was
map?
just a dot on the map.
It looked like one of those passes you referred to led somewhere near there.
Not really. No.
No, of course not.
They're further
No, I don't
north. The dot was sort of on like the biggest peak of the area of Veriland.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. Settlements on tops of mountains.
Yeah, that sounds like the opposite of what I normally do.
Pretty much.
Never venture off up into the mountains. What's it like up there? Is it said to be cold? Is it said to be hot? You're closer to the sun. I would imagine it would be hotter.
I believe it's colder up in the mountains. Quite cold, in fact. Very snowy.
That's what all the stories say. Mountains.
Oh yeah, I guess you can
cold.
see snow on them.
Yeah,
You can in the distant peaks. Yeah, it's very pretty.
I just thought that was because they were further north.
Yeah, well, we're pretty far north right here. I mean, it's very nice today. Duncan's just having a really hard time comprehending it. Like, the sun's what makes it hot. I'm getting closer to the sun. It should be hotter.
Duncan's a simple soul.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know why it would be colder, but I'll take your word for it. I think yeah.
I believe it has something to do with the height. As you get higher, it gets colder.
Doesn't it get harder to breathe too? That's what the stories say.
I've certainly read that. Yes.
Like the air's wrong or something. It's
Somehow less
Yeah.
satisfying.
How would the air be wrong?
Maybe it's left over from when they were magical kingdoms.
Perhaps.
Hard also perks up once they start talking about that, and he's just kind of confused.
But yes, if you do plan on going into the mountains, probably you'll need some very warm gear.
good to know.
It is
Yeah,
summer,
that's
so
probably-
perhaps it won't be so bad, but I've heard many stories of, well, like I said, many of the explorers and surveyors sent out never came back, and it's assumed that they lost their lives to the climate or other dangers on the mountains.
Animals.
No, perhaps. So it might not be a very safe journey. But
Do you know any other resources, any books, anything
of
that would
course,
tell more
there's-
about these mountains?
well, maybe not these mountains specifically, but I have many, many books by various explorers and navigators over time. I couldn't allow you to take them from the room, but if you wish to read them here, you're more than welcome to.
Yes, that would be wonderful.
Yes, he leads you over to a bookshelf. Points out a few of the explorers that were in that area, probably. And he seems to know very well. He's cataloged these books well. He knows them.
Then you just lost Cal for the rest of the conversation.
Curious about this old mythology. Would there be any books on Veriland or that period, or stories that people have told
those-
over the years?
I'm sure there are. I wouldn't have those particularly.
Well, I wouldn't imagine you would. They're stories, of course.
Yes, but I'm sure there are some out there somewhere. People like to tell stories.
Of course.
Of course, I don't know how many people even still know the name of some of those old kingdoms. Not many, I would imagine.
What would it cost for you to transcribe us a new map of the mythological kingdoms?
Oh, I could certainly do so. It would take a couple of days. And
Or maybe just your best map of this area. Like,
I'm
kind of
just curious
focusing
for
around that.
history. I mean, I've always been inclined to history, but nobody I knew anything about it. Sort of lacked education outside of the town.
oh
Started
well,
working when I was 8, so my schooling
Yes.
is somewhat wanting.
there are certainly many people in this area who know a great deal about the history. I know some. I'm probably not the most knowledgeable. I know more about the history of the physical landmass, as it were, and less about the cultures and peoples. But I could certainly make you a map of this section or all of it. It would cost some, but for the most part, I live fairly comfortably at the pleasure of the royal family. So I'm happy to help, as you are friends with Lord de
I
la
think it would be
Sac.
neat to have an ancient map of Dion.
yeah.
Yes, I could
What-
certainly do that.
What would you like in terms of compensation?
Well, did you say you were planning to actually travel to this mountain range?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, having a copy of this map would be great, but then also maybe something focusing on this area.
Yes.
the purposes of travel.
If I were to make these for you, if I could ask a trade in return, I could give you cartography tools, and if perhaps you were to take note of the places you went, the things you saw, any more accurate modern information would be very valuable to me.
Okay. You'd have to teach me to use them, of course. But
Yes, of course. I couldn't teach you how to use them perhaps with as much accuracy as would be preferable, but to a degree, yes.
I think these two have pretty good handwriting, so maybe they're good at it. And I point at the two ladies that are around. Well, I guess Bard's handwriting's really good too. Mine is awful.
I'm not saying that Duncan knows how to write. That
is up to you.
I most certainly learned how to read. I'm sure it's in my notes somewhere.
I know that I can write very poorly.
Yeah, I definitely learned how to read. I hated it, but my mother insisted. I just haven't had much practice writing. I don't read too often, so my spelling is abysmal. But
perhaps the scholars of your group might be more...
Gretchen is well educated. I am very good with terrain, but...
Well, as a group, I'm sure you could manage some degree of accuracy. Hopefully. So if that seems an adequate trade to you, then I would be happy to do this for you.
That's perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that'd be great.
What?
I believe, my dear, that you have been volunteered to assist with a surveying and exploration of these relatively unknown lands.
Oh, yeah, sure. Good. Back to book.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
I think you said it'll be a couple of days.
Yes, probably about that. Assuming that I'm not needed for any projects in the meantime. Which would obviously make it take a little longer.
I think we'll check back in then.
Yeah, day after tomorrow.
All right. I will do my best.
Thank you so much. Did we ever catch your name?
Oh, my name is Alfred blah blah blah. I don't know.
Alfred the cartographer.
Alfred the cartographer.
Mm-hmm.
Sir Alfred the cartographer.
Sir Alfred.
So where's Batman?
I used up my names, so now I need to make more names.
Hey, Cal, are you ready to go? You're not paying attention, are you? How are the books?
There's some interesting stuff here. I mean, plants, the animals. I mean, they kind of all say the same thing, but this is going to be a fun place to visit.
Is there good game to hunt up in the animals? We'll need to eat.
Oh yeah, they have not only deer, but there's elk up there, which are like big deer, and then there's cougars, there's bears, there's rumors of other things, but I don't know. And some really cool trees that they're really short, but they can be like hundreds of years old. Like it's an old tree, but it only really grows like this high. And
That makes sense. I mean, I haven't grown in 25 years. I started growing a lot when I was little, and I stopped. I assume trees are the same way.
Yeah. Seems right.
Doesn't seem strange to me. You seem impressed though.
But the ones down here are really, really tall. These ones.
But then they stopped, right? Kind of like some people are taller than others. I mean, you're not very tall.
I'm aware. Thank you. I'll show them to you if we find them. Yeah, I'm ready to go. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You are welcome anytime, my dear.
Okay. As we leave, I want to stop back by the palace library that we stopped at earlier. I'm really curious now about these magical kingdoms. That sounds like it perfectly describes what we're looking for, although believed to be mythology.
Okay.
So would the librarian there know of any books on Veriland?
There is no librarian there.
There's no librarian there.
Nope.
It's the queen. That was last time we were there.
Yeah,
Its equivalent is of the Dewey Decimal System, but I imagine I couldn't find anything on my own.
That really
You could certainly make an investigation check and tell me how long you're spending at your looking.
I don't even know if I'd attempt to look if nobody there was there to help me.
No, there's nobody
Yeah,
there.
probably,
It's empty.
we'll probably, as a group, all help.
Yeah, I'll definitely look.
Yeah, I rolled a 14.
Okay, you have advantage if they're helping you.
Okay, I have a 14.
Okay. Okay. So altogether, you start going through these books that are, unless you're interested in military strategy, incredibly boring. And you find, with much searching, that this really seems to be a very, very, as you found last time, focused library. And all you find are texts on strategy. And there are some very ancient texts, but nothing that specifically talks about magical kingdoms.
Could Bard, while everyone's looking, could I look for books on stuff like me?
You could certainly look. Yes, make an investigation check.
And this one I'll keep to myself.
Okay. Are you sort of pretending to help them with their search?
Kind of, and then I got an 8, so it doesn't
Okay.
matter too
Yeah.
much.
It's a bunch of books on military strategy. What to do when an opposing army does this? How to deal with, when a battle looks like this? Lots of maps of like battle, like battle maps.
I have a strange idea. The day that I first met you two, 3 crazy kids, we were searching for a very unique book that we ended up selling to one of the captains. Those people in the blue tent down by the marketplace seem to know about it. Perhaps they would know about other strange books.
Yeah, I thought they packed up and left because their goal was to do some business but raise enough money for their family, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely people that come and go from the marketplace, and I don't always pay attention.
I thought we'd gone back and didn't see them, but
if we had, I don't recall.
Did we find out where they said they were from? Because they weren't from town originally, I thought.
I didn't talk to them at all. I don't even believe I went into their establishment. I don't know if they had other books. I just they were selling a rare book that the captains thought was magical. I don't even remember the captain's name. Pierre Le Duarte.
We could go down to the docks and ask around at the couple bars down there to ask if he's in port right now.
Yeah, because he would seem to be another person that seemed to be a collector of such things.
Captain Pierre.
Yeah, Captain Pierre Le Duarte.
Though, Ra, you would remember he had a large seafaring ship that was unlikely to be
Yeah,
up here, upriver.
that's right.
Yeah, I
Well, there was
hijacked
the
his boat and took it down here. Yeah.
there was the other captain that was not a sea captain, but we had talked to him briefly. But I don't remember if he said he collected anything either.
I don't remember another captain. I just remember talking to Jerry, the old quartermaster.
Yeah. I mean, we could check. Okay, yeah, Captain Pierre's probably back out on the seas, I would imagine. Maybe if we were down on the coast, but he probably wouldn't have brought his boat back up here anytime soon. I mean, maybe he stuck around, but I doubt it.
Yeah. 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 I wouldn't want to travel out of my way not knowing where Captain Pierre was at, and that's kind of a wild goose chase anyway. He may or may not know anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty simple to catch a boat up to Pevza.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it takes. I've never been. I just send goods along.
Yeah, the downriver is pretty easy. Upriver requires a lot of paddling or pushing with poles, or in a few spots they'll tell you with horses on shore, and they'll tow you upriver in a couple spots where the current's a little stronger. But yeah, it's easy going downriver for sure. It's pretty
For us going upriver, we just sit there and other people would push with poles and oars, and we'd pay coin.
So but yeah,
no, that's out of the way.
No, we could check, but it sounded like he was getting back on the water pretty quick, so I don't think he'd be back.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
We could go if we wanted to do research on the other stuff. Maybe check out the temples with them churchy folk in it.
How far of a journey is it to Pevza? Somebody in a port town would be more likely to know of a new upcoming silk trade, I would imagine.
Yeah, it could be an overland. Well, if it's seafaring silk trade, yeah, but I mean, my captain wanted to, I think, find out about their contacts here specifically.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, everything goes in and out of ports, but I don't think that's where the rich people
Someone
are.
has to be retrieving it. So it's being shipped here to someone.
I check after some time, having scribbled the notes the night before onto that piece of paper. I check to see if there's anything written back.
Nope.
Well, at the very least, I wrote down a list of things from that book that they say are recommended supplies you should have if you're going into the mountains. So we can look around and see if we can find some of these things.
Oh, sure. Maybe if we're going back to Lux, we could pick them up there, maybe?
That might
So
be
we don't
better.
have to
They're
cart them
closer
the
to
whole
the
way?
big mountains. Yeah. So they might have a better supply of gear.
We could, because we're not in a rush, we could stop in Savas too, maybe, and see what they have there.
I also like the idea of going to the temples and trying to find more research.
Do any of you go to the church? I have always done what I think a lot of sailors do, where it's between us and the sea, and not like this whole building and such. But do any of you know about the church?
We had a small gathering in our village, but it wasn't ever a formal building. It was just people would get together, and it's mainly a social thing. We'd pray, and then there'd be food.
I know a little bit about the basic religions, but yeah, I mean, sometimes we'd go to the nearby village to celebrate like solstice, but
I guess we could just go ask, huh?
Yeah, all
I mean, I
of
think
you
I
would
know a little bit because I've, worked with healing people of different faiths, and
Yeah, you'd all
Came
know.
into town to go any of the big temples or anything.
Yeah. All of you obviously would know about the main, the four and the religion. But the temples, people, they go to them sometimes, but they're not as, like, you don't have to go to service in a temple necessarily, as you guys were saying, like, you can go anywhere. The temples are mostly where, like, the priests are, and so you would call the temple for help if, something were to happen or you needed healing or anything like that, typically.
there's
Or
sometimes
take
if
someone
someone
to the
dies in
temple
our
for that.
care,
Well, shall we go see if we can get access to those church books?
yeah.
Anywhere near the market. I still want to check for the blue tent people. I don't remember. They're still here or not.
Oh, that cat.
She just kept dipping her head into the camera.
Oh, Rin.
This neck looks cold.
I think she's trying to decide if she could, like, jump down onto the desk.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there are
Anyway,
4 temples in the city. Most of you would know that. There's 4 temples in most cities.
So, what's your god again, Duncan?
Dwin?
Maybe we should stop by there first.
Okay. Assume I would know where Dwin's temple is. Come to town often enough.
Yeah, it's easy to find. The temples they're also, large and beautiful and tourist attractions. So yeah, there's no issue finding the temple. So and there are obviously smaller little, like, churchy type temples around, but, like, there's the main temple. And since this is the capital, it's kind of the main one for the nation. For each of the gods.
If there were books anywhere, that's where they'd be.
Yeah. So you were easily able to find Dwin's temple. It is very beautifully landscaped, as might be expected from the god of growing things. It's got
Definitely
like rolling
admiring
grounds,
plants.
and it's very beautiful.
Something more firm that I wrote down God of growing things.
Yeah, more than that, but that is also part of it.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm assuming we walk in.
Yeah,
I'm picturing like an old French cathedral. The inside with stained glass, with things growing in the
lots of
the
things
pictures.
growing, lots of little, like, shriny things around. And there are many people at the shriny things, like, praying. You see a disproportionate number of pregnant women are there.
We're also growing things.
Mm-hmm. He's also the god of birth. You just didn't write that part down.
Okay. Birth / growing things. Got it. Okay. Does anybody approach us, or is it just normal for people to walk in?
It seems to be just normal for people to walk in. So you do see a number of people who are dressed in green robes, kind of wandering about, but none of them specifically approaches you. Sorry, I have cat hair in my nose.
Wonder how.
Yeah, gee, who knows? Crazy.
So I'll walk up to one of the green robed figures and good afternoon.
And she turns around, and it's this old woman with like white gray hair, and she gives you a little bow back. Good morning, young lady. How can we help you this morning?
We are preparing to go on a journey into the wildlands, and we were hoping for more information about what we might find.
Oh, that is quite interesting. Very few people journey into the wildlands. Which wildlands are you interested in?
The mountains near Lux. Those that separate Vivienne's from the wastelands.
Those are very
Beyond.
high mountains, I've heard.
As have we.
And how exactly can the Temple of Dwin help you? We can certainly give you blessings.
We were told you might have books on such subjects.
On the mountains near Lux, perhaps. I don't...
The mountains and the kingdom, Veruland.
I don't know that kingdom. Is that a kingdom?
It was one of the old kingdoms.
Oh, very interesting. I do not know, but come with me. And she starts leading you back into the temple. Do you guys follow?
What could possibly go wrong?
But I'm openly wearing like my amulet with the water god symbol on it.
Oh, okay.
So like I normally do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he hasn't caught fire yet, so.
Well, and as you pass by
gods,
another acolyte or whomever, you do see that they sort of smile and give you a little nod, Ra.
Yeah, they're not competing religions.
Yeah,
They're
it's not really
different.
No.
Warring pantheon.
No,
Yeah.
they're all very intertwined.
Division of labor.
Yeah. Yeah, there are no issues as far as you know between the four. They all get along just fine. They just have their different things.
Such thing.
So yeah, they seem to respect your amulet as being a fellow worshiper of one of the four. So you're taken back to this sort of dusty room that is full of sort of dusty books. And you could tell people use it regularly, but it just isn't cleaned very often, maybe.
Yeah.
There's certainly a sign of a great deal of use. And she sort of looks around. Well, I wouldn't know where to begin, but this is where we keep the books.
May we look around?
Yes, let me bring somebody in who will keep... They will watch over and make sure you don't need anything.
Of course.
And she sort of walks out, and then you hear her just like bellow, "Naomi!" And a little while later, like running footsteps, and a girl, like a young girl, not young, but like 11, kind of darts in. Yes, ma'am. These lovely people are going to look through the books, so if you could keep an eye on them and on the books, you know the rules of the library. Yes, ma'am. All right, then. And she pats the girl on the head. Very good. Do let Naomi know if she can do anything for you. She is very enthusiastic. And she turns around.
We
and
will,
leaves.
thank you.
And Naomi just stands at the door. Like, not in front of the door, just like beside the door, like just ready.
Nomi, do you know, are any of these books on history or like old history, like hundreds of years ago?
Oh, probably. I don't really know the books that well, but I can help you look for one if you want.
Sure. Can you guide us to a section or, yeah.
Um,
We're
yeah, she kind of
specifically
looks.
looking for the magic kingdoms and mythology.
Oh, well, I have lots of mythology books. Those are my favorite. And she takes you over to a section. These have lots of fun stories, and they don't really like me to read them so much because they're, probably not true. But there's also a lot about the four, and those, of course, are true. So as long as you keep reading about the four, it's okay.
Yes, exactly. You said you know these mythologies. Are there any of them where people can turn into animals? I love those stories.
Yeah, there's lots of those.
Can you show me one?
Sure.
Or a couple?
And she grabs the book and hands it to you. In this one, the lady turns into a swan. I think she's cursed or something by... I don't remember. It's been a little while. She sort of starts flipping through it. Like she's going to hand it to you, but then she starts going through it. Oh, yeah. She was cursed by a witch. And it was really scary. But she got turned back away from being a swan. But here. And she hands it back to you.
All right, I'll flip through that.
Okay. And it's like a fairy tale about a girl who got turned into a swan by a witch.
I will just ask this girl. Do you? She said that you know all the rules. What sort of rules does this type of place have?
Oh, well, you have to treat the books with respect, of course, and you can't take the books away, of course.
Okay.
Unless you're an acolyte here, and then you could take them to your room and read them at night. But you have to bring them back in good condition. You can't read and eat, and you can't read and drink at the same time either. And you can't like burn candles by the books. It's mostly just about keeping the books safe. That's all.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
And so we keep an eye on people who don't know the rules just to make sure that you don't accidentally break the rules.
Do you know if there's any books by an explorer named Orlin here?
I don't know, maybe.
Or anything about the kingdom of Veruland? Like an old magical kingdom?
Or
maybe.
like maybe the section it would be in?
Well, the mythology books are here, so maybe it would be here.
I'm going to look through the mythology books.
Okay.
I'm going to join her.
I don't know about like explorer books. There's all the like theology books over here, and she like points to like the majority of the bookshelf. And then over there are books on like how to grow the things, and that's like another large bookshelf. Because a lot of people come in and they want to know like how to grow things, because that's what we do here. And then there's a whole book on like healthcare and midwifery and stuff like that over here. And this is where the books that are, I don't know, they don't really fit the categories very well. Sometimes we just get donated books, and so we just put them over here.
Okay. How big's that shelf?
The miscellaneous section?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, like 4 feet wide and like, the height of the bookshelves. So it's a fairly small section, but it is appreciable. It's there.
Okay. Hey, Bard, do you want to look at this section with me?
I do. I have a quick question. Have you, and I'll like pull one of the miscellaneous books off the shelf and like start absentmindedly thumbing through it. Have you ever heard a story of metal men?
Metal men. I don't think so. I did hear a story about somebody who was made of clay.
Actually, can you point that book out to me?
She kind of wanders back to the mythology section. It was definitely somewhere here. Here. And she pulls it out. I think it was this one. And she starts going through it. Like she starts to hand it to you, but then like stops and like starts going through it. And then, oh yeah, this one. It was this clay person or thing or something that that a guy made to be a guardian, and he was magic, and he had a thing on his forehead, like a sign on his forehead, and somehow that was really important. I don't remember how, but here.
And I'll take that book as well. Just put it on top of the other book that I was looking through and start looking through that one now.
I think Duncan and I are going to go through the mythology section.
Okay, make an investigation check.
While they do that, I'm going to sidle over to Ra. Be like, Ra, I have a question.
What's up?
It's been a long time since I've looked. Do I have something on my forehead? And I'll like move my mask a little bit so that he can see. Do I have something on my forehead? I can't remember if I did or not.
Not that I know of. Unless you have something on your forehead.
I actually think I do.
Oh, do you? Then yes, you have something on your forehead.
I got a 5.
7.
Okay. You find a whole lot of mythology books that have really fun stories, and some scary stories and so forth, but you don't find anything that you think actually tells you much about the area that you want to know about.
Anything about ghosts?
About ghosts?
Ghouls?
Mm-hmm. No. Not really. Like, there's some mentions of ghosts and spirits and stuff, but nothing that's, like, about spirits.
Like, helpful.
Yeah.
Where, like, little Susie went to a haunted house. Little Susie did not come out again.
Yeah, basically.
Hello, Susie.
It was a sad day for Susie. Did you find whether you have something on your forehead, Chris?
I'm still looking. I want to say I do.
Okay.
I'll tell him one way or the other, whatever actually
whatever
is.
it is.
Yep.
You're not just going to be like, yeah, there's a little bit of mud right there.
All I know is it's not in the official Warforged like description, but
yeah, I want to say it's like in the wiki or something that they say that they have some sort of insignia related to their creator. I think it's on their forehead.
And
yep, there is. Each Warforged has a Golra engraved upon their foreheads.
Sure, if you want one, you've got one.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got a thing that looks kind of like this, and I'll say it discreetly because I presume he'll be facing away from everybody.
I guess now I need to figure out what that looks like.
Yep. Better do that.
He has his mask off. I've never seen him with his mask off.
Yeah, but I don't think you can still see him because he faced away from you.
And you're investigating books and such.
I am investigating books. I just heard you say something about it.
Yeah, I've got my nose in a ghost story, so.
Yeah.
I glanced up for a second, thought it was interesting, and then went back to the book.
So I start reading that book about the clay person a lot more intently now that I have something in common.
Okay.
I'll look through the miscellaneous shelf to see what kind of interesting stuff is in there.
Okay. It has a large variety of things. A lot of, various sort of nonfiction type stuff, but there's also some like novels. Nothing like the porn you found earlier, but plenty of reading material of various types. So there are, there's even some tales of ships and ship yarns and so forth, some of which you probably heard but maybe not seen in writing before.
I probably don't get much past the spines of most books, so.
Yeah. And the book about the clay person was about somebody who created a golem to defend them. And then the golem kind of went on a rampage and killed some people.
So it's Clay Frankenstein.
Yeah, pretty much.
I probably stopped reading shortly after the murderous rampage part because I'm like, oh, I don't like that.
No, this isn't good anymore. Yeah.
How's it going over in your corner there, guys?
Not
There's just a whole
much.
bunch of looks like children's stories. Some
Naomi,
more
do you have
in-depth
any
stories.
books on the mountains and what's in the mountains? Like people who've climbed up mountains? Or...
Not that I know of. Maybe in the growing things section? Like if they were
These
trying
little
to grow
stories.
things
Is
on
there
the
any
mountain?
stories about a city on top of a mountain?
Probably. When she kind
I'm
of
gonna
goes
look-
back to the mythology section, sort of looks through it. I don't remember any, though.
Well,
I'm going to look through the growing things section for anything that references like mountain plants or high altitude cultivation.
Okay, make another investigation check.
Behave yourself. That's a 3.
Yeah, no. You find a lot of agriculture books about this climate specifically. Some about southern climate, but nothing about high altitude anything.
Maybe we should try the temples in Lux.
Yeah, maybe.
This all seems to be local ag.
yeah. I mean, you said something about the air being different up in the mountains. Maybe Mariah's temple. Maybe the air is what talks about the mountains more than growing things. I mean, I knew the mountains had to grow to get that tall, but
We could try, yeah.
All right, let's go.
I mean,
Thanks, Nomi. Thanks for your help.
You're welcome. Do you need help out?
I think we're good here, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're all set.
And none of you has any books with you, right?
I mean, I have a few that I came in with.
But none
they're my
that you
books.
got from here?
No, I don't. I don't have any of those with me.
you shiver the porn books.
Okay.
These are grown-up books.
Okay. And she leads you out to the main hall of the temple. And if you want to leave an offering to the god, then there are offering cups by each of the little shrines.
Thank you. I will leave some herbs as an offering.
I feel obligated now. I throw a silver in one of them.
Okay. And she sort of nods approvingly at you. Thank you. And may the god bless you.
And you.
All right.
So, I should probably get back. I promised Maeve I'd help with some potions this afternoon. Do you guys want to go to the Temple of Myra without me?
I mean, we could. I don't know how
I'm
long
like
we-
hellbent now on finding out more about these mythological kingdoms. Now that I know that there's been like a map of them,
Or we could
I'm
just look at the temples in Lux, and when we get there.
and we
We could-
can, but I think Vivian's would have the most complete collections if they had.
Yeah, we've
if they
got a
had
couple
anything.
days. We should probably go. Yeah, we could go check out what they have at the other temple, and then continue on. It might take us a little while, but we have to wait on maps anyway.
Yeah.
And Jean getting a new vest, so.
Appropriately garbed.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see you this evening. Did you want to come, hang out and listen to? I think Bard has some new material to work on in front of folks. So
Yeah, I can come by after the shop closes. That
cool. We'll see you then.
Okay.
Speaking of, I might go down to the port. I tend to workshop better there. Maybe it's just that there's people to bounce ideas off of constantly there. And we can work on spreading that temple. Despite the golem thing, it was kind of it was not very exciting, and I did not like it at all. And it's so confusing. The gods, like, I'm aware they exist, but do they need that big of a thing?
just kind of something people believe that gives them hope and purpose. I don't know. It's really important to some people and not to others.
I think the temples help advertise to some folks that might need it, and others don't need them. So I don't know, but
Well,
we can.
see you guys
Duncan
tonight?
and I are. Yeah, Duncan and I aren't great with books, so maybe we just practice more sparring for the rest of the day till we can all go back.
Yeah, that works for me. I need all the help I can get.
And as you all split up for the afternoon, I'm going to say let's call it there because it's after 3. So thank you.
Speak for yourself. It's dark here.
It's after 5. It's after 2. Have I got all the time zones now?
Yeah,
yeah,
it's only 2 over here.
Pretty well covers it.
We don't have anyone in Central Time. Usually you don't have anyone in Mountain Time, but not here.
Yeah.
Team Boise.
Wow.
Yep.
And
Boise and
environs.
surroundings. All right. Anybody have anything they want to tell the world before we go away? Thoughts, concerns, questions?
Going on an adventure. Eventually. Lots of research first.
Eventually.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I was really interested to see if you guys would just like be like, all right, let's go. Like I kind of thought you would be, and now you're like, never mind, let's do all the research. It's like, okay, let's do research. It's a research episode.
I'm glad we didn't just go. I assumed it was going to
If-
be muttered blazes up near the sun.
If Rod didn't have his captain breathing down his neck, he would have just been like, "Yep, let's leave."
Yeah,
So
I think I would have been the same. I felt nervous for you and getting hunted down for just
Yeah.
skipping out of town.
yeah, murderous boss. I'll do research. All right, bye.
Oh wait, you want
Yeah,
to do
you
research
realize you
now,
just-
not in a month?
Told the royal cartographer like all the stuff that she probably didn't want you sharing.
What? We never kept those trades secret. At least not that he knew.
No, Ra doesn't know any secrets, remember?
Yep.
Oh, good times.
The oils and children, that's what we traffic.
Don't traffic children. They just have youthful employees that grow up.
Yeah, please.
And by medieval standards, he was practically an adult. So
It was probably about the time Cal started apprenticing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I said, I started work when I was like 8, so.
I mean, technically, my character's super, super young, so.
Yeah.
Bard's the real child labor.
But guys, we're not in medieval times. Don't forget that. We're in
An
quasi-
alternate timeline.
alternate.
all right, so
But it's like
Duncan
more like
being a modern farmer
pre-Renaissance, like sort
would
of
have
Renaissance
started work
time.
at 8 years old.
I think if I wrote it down correctly, I was like 14 when I started my apprenticeship.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that tracks.
Something like in there.
Something like that.
Yep, 14.
Hey, I remembered something.
Hey.
Look at that. I are smart. Or just good at pulling random numbers out of my ass. One of the two.
Or you just remember your character so well.
I'm just so into it.
Okay. Well, in that case, if nobody has anything else, then let's just remind everybody who we are and where they can find us. And is everyone going to be able to play next weekend? I guess we should probably.
As far as I know.
Yeah, I think so.
So.
Oh, by the way, I texted Elizabeth that there was a rumor going around that George got syphilis from fucking a goat, and she said that was amazing. She's very proud of you, Bard.
Nice. Okay, then let's start with Stuart because you're first.
I'm Stuart. I play Ra, and you can find me at Nacho Botulism on Twitch.
And Amanda.
I'm Amanda. I play Cal, and I am at Statstein on both Twitch and Twitter.
Chris.
I'm Chris, and I play Bard the Bard, and you can find me on Twitter at Chris_Vowel.
And Josh.
I'm Josh. I play Duncan, the Ranger. You can find me on Twitter at BoyGloyd, and you can find me on Twitch at Social Circus as soon as I figure out how to log back into it.
And I'm Kara. I was your DM, and you can find me everywhere at Rain Midnight, unless you're on Twitter, in which case it's Rain_Midnight. And on Instagram, I think you can find me under Rain Midnight, but it's also Rain Midnight Dice. And there is currently a dice sale going on my Etsy shop. So 50% off everything in the store. It's a really big sale. So drop by, check it out. Just search for Rain Midnight Dice and you'll find it. And buy some pretty cool dice if you like to roleplay.
Really pretty shiny dice.
Really pretty shiny dice. And I guess that's all. So thank you guys for being here and for watching. And I hope you all have really wonderful weeks. Does anyone have anything to add to that? Okay.
No.
Then have wonderful weeks and stuff. And we'll see you all next week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.